and welcome to the first episode ever of the German Car Show, where we discuss the superiority of the German engineering of automobiles. This very first episode may have a few little technical issues. I'm recording from an empty room in a new house, and so there may be a bit of an echo. Please forgive that. The show will be released both in a YouTube video series and an audio-only podcast. So if you're listening audio only, you can always tune into the YouTube show to see a little bit more of the visuals. But the first episode here today, I went to a local car show. Now, I live in Southwest Michigan, and I was really curious what the car culture here thought about German cars. The car shows around here tend to feature hobby-type classic cars that people work on themselves. The people tend to be middle-aged and older. So I went and just asked some very general questions on their thoughts about German cars and then asked them which they would go with. So I hope you enjoy their thoughts on German cars. All right, we're here on this windy day in Paw Paw, Michigan, near the Kalamazoo, Michigan area, and we're checking out one of the local car shows. Tends to be that in Michigan you get a lot of American-made cars, your Mustangs, your Corvettes, things that have their roots here in Michigan. So we're going to go around, we're going to see if we can spot any German-made cars here. We'll also talk to some of the locals, some of the owners of the cars here, and see what their general opinion is on German automobiles. All right, we've got our first German-made car. Not too far into the show either. We just started on the outer edge here. We've got a Volkswagen Beetle, but I don't see the owner present. Would love to talk to him more about it, but we've got one so far. All right, so can you tell us a little bit about the car you have here today?
I have a 1970 GTO. It's got a big block 455 automatic, fully restored.
Very good, very good. And so I'm going to ask you a few questions about German cars specifically. If you don't know anything about them, that's totally fine too. Just kind of collecting information. So the first thing is, do you have an opinion about German cars at all? In general?
Not really.
No? Okay. So they have a kind of a reputation, double reputation. In Europe, they're like, these things are super reliable. And here in the States, people are kind of like, I don't really like the reliability of German cars. So do you have any opinions on that? Do you know anything there?
Not really. I'm not a foreign car kind of guy.
Sure.
So.
Okay, and then what about, just based on the little you know, if you've got the three basic brands people usually go with, you've got BMW, Mercedes, Benz, Audi. Those are kind of the ones that people think of right now. Is there one you'd go with if I could just give you a free one?
Probably a Mercedes.
Okay.
I do like the Mercedes SL.
Oh, yeah. You like those styling specifically?
Yeah, the sports car looking ones, yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I happened across a 1970 Volkswagen Beetle. That makes two German cars here at Paw Paw Days, both Volkswagen Beetles, and I think that is all that we're going to find. All right, so can you tell us a little bit about the car you have here today?
It's not German. It's a 70 Nova Super Sport 427 4-speed cars, SS. I said SS, Super Sport.
Okay.
And it's been totally 100% restored.
Oh, has it really?
Yes.
When was that done?
It took about 9 years.
9 years, so it's a long project.
Yeah, it is. A little bit at a time.
And did you do that yourself then?
Everything I could do myself, but without the motor work and the paint.
Okay.
Which left the interior and that kind of thing.
Very good.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask you a few questions, get your opinion on German cars. Just a general, do you have a general opinion on them if you're lumping them all into one category?
No, I mean Volkswagen, they're not going to make the Volkswagen anymore at this last year.
The Beetle we're talking about?
Beetle.
Yeah.
The only other German car I know would be a BMW. And those initials mean Big Michigan Woman. No, I've got friends that have BMWs, and they like them, but they're an expensive car.
Sure. Is there a reason you prefer the American brands?
They're readily available, and I'm in America.
Yeah.
I mean, I was raised with these cars. as a kid, and my brother was a big drag racer in Connecticut, and he always had Chevys, so I naturally leaned towards Chevy. So that's why I have the Chevy Nova Super Sport.
Gotcha.
It's a 4-speed car, which is not rare but unusual.
And I would give price for performance to American cars any day. You get a lot more bang for your buck, it seems like.
The new Corvette.
The C8 you're talking about? Yeah.
Well, the new one that's coming out.
The mid-engine?
Mid-engine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the factory race car. And as is the 2019s. They're beautiful cars. A lot of carbon fiber on them and a lot of horsepower.
Yeah, that might make me cheat if I have to get a supercar, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So just curious, if I could give you a free German car, is there one that, even if you don't know specific make or model, like, I guess the specific make?
BMW.
BMW, yeah.
Probably the 2-door. I don't know. I'm not sure if they make a 5 Series 2-door, but
right.
I know a little bit about BMWs, but never owned one. Never had the wishes to own one.
Sure.
Yep. So.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. All right. Can you tell us a little bit about the car that you have here today?
It's a 48 Ford Coupe. It's powered by a 350 Chevy 350 turbo tank.
And is it something you've owned for how long then?
Just bought it this spring. I've had it a couple of months.
Oh, so it's pretty new for you, yeah.
I have another one at home. I have a 53 Ford at home. Take yourself as well.
Does it have? Does this one have a lot of restoration work, or is it largely original?
No, there's nothing original on it.
Oh, okay.
There's suicide doors, which is not original. None of the interior is original. Motor transmission. The frame under the front is out of a 70 Nova. There's nothing original about it.
All right. Well, let me ask you a few questions about German brands specifically here. Do you have an opinion about German cars in general?
I wouldn't own one.
Wouldn't own one?
I've raced them.
Oh, have you? Okay.
We ran circle track cars for years, and a couple of those years we ran Porsche and Volkswagen.
Okay.
And they were pretty good cars. We had pretty time with them. But first off, I couldn't afford them, and secondly, very large on American cars.
Gotcha.
So that's about the end of it.
Gotcha, okay. Now, they have kind of a dual reputation. So, like, over in Europe, people are like, these things are super reliable. And then here in the United States, people are like, don't buy a German car. They're not reliable at all. Do you have an opinion on that?
I have no history with it, so I couldn't comment.
Okay. Then if I could give you a free one, and maybe you'd say no because you said all American, right? But if I could give you a free one, is there a brand you would go with specifically?
I would take a BMW and I would keep it just long enough to sell it.
I like that. All right. So can you tell us a little bit about the car you have here today?
Yeah, it's a 2008 Z06 Corvette. Has some motor work done to it, heads, cam, stuff like that. But owned it for a little bit now. Bought it at the start of winter, so
okay.
Just getting to learn the car more and driving it while it's nice. So yeah.
Yeah, being in Michigan, you probably didn't get much chance to drive it in the winter, right? Yeah.
Nope, it was sitting all winter long. So yeah, it's finally nice to have it out and go to events like this with it.
So how long did you have it before you could really drive it?
Oh, a good probably 4 or 5 months. Was sitting.
That must have been eating at you.
Yeah. Starting it and listening to it. That's about it.
Right.
Yep.
Keeping it clean, right?
Yeah, keeping it clean. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you some questions specifically about German cars here. Just in general, do you have an opinion on them as a whole, as a very general, broad?
I love them.
Do you?
Love them. I would own one. I would own one in the future. So, yeah, big fan. I don't know too much about, like the mods people do to them and stuff like that, but just because I've never owned one. But
yeah, I don't know too much about that myself. I tend to stick to the factory stuff, but
right.
So, question. So in Europe, they have this reputation of having just stellar reliability, but in the United States,
If he owns that Corvette, you're talking to the wrong guy.
Yeah, I do, but yeah.
in the United States, they have a kind of a bad reputation for reliability. Do you have an opinion on that? Have you heard enough to?
I've heard a lot of bad things about them, but I mean, I don't know because I've never owned one. So, but yeah, I've heard that.
So you've heard more bad than good in general?
Probably.
Okay.
But I hear bad things about my car too. So.
Oh, do you?
I mean, yeah, there's stuff wrong with all cars, but.
So if I could give you a free German car, maybe you don't know the specific make or something, but do you
So
have?
what are any categories like are you sticking to? Like.
Yeah, if I could just give you a free one, is there one that would it be BMW? Would it be Mercedes, Audi?
Probably. I love BMWs. I've always wanted an M3, so I actually was looking at them before that. So I do like the M3s.
Oh, so that won out over the M3 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I still might own one day, but I do. I love BMWs, so I just like the looks of them and all that.
Right now, that's winning. Everyone we've asked,
Yeah.
it's been mostly BMW,
BMW?
actually. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I like them all. Mercedes are nice too. I own a glossy image detailing in Mattawan. Do everything from boats, airplanes, cars, whatever you need detailed. So.
He did my Audi engine actually, and it was so clean. I was showing it off to people. I was like, look how clean he got this.
Turned out awesome.
Looked brand new. So really good work.
Thank you.
Okay, I bought this truck in 1977. It's a Ford F-150 4x4. I've done a lift kit on it, 3-inch, and different tires. And other than that, it's stock.
And you were saying before that it had not been out of the garage in how long?
30 years.
30 years, and you restored it back
in the 80s.
Yeah,
late 80s.
That's just incredible. It looks so pristine, and yeah, it's been it hasn't moved, right?
No.
Yeah. Well, thank you for telling me about your vehicle. I'm going to ask you guys some questions about German cars, just very general questions. The first one would be, do you have an opinion about them at all? Or good, bad, anything at all about German cars?
Yep.
Think they built, in general, good car?
His son has an Audi.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, okay.
Yep. So
And I've got a 99 Corvette. His Audi, I think, would run circles around it.
No kidding. Okay, which kind does he have?
The S5.
or S, yes.
S5, so it's a coupe. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Sport. Yep.
Very nice. So the second question would be, like, in Europe, they have this stellar reliability reputation, but in the United States, everyone says don't touch those are money pits. Based on things you've heard or experienced, do you have an opinion on that?
All I've ever heard is they say they're expensive to repair.
Okay.
Yep.
That's about all I've heard.
So generally more on the maybe not that they're unreliable, but just when they break, they're expensive.
reliable.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. And then final question, if I could give either of you a free German car, you don't have to necessarily know the exact model, but if one jumps out, does any particular brand jump out?
Not really. I like Lamborghinis. That's me.
Okay.
That was my choice if I could have a car.
I would do an Audi though. They're
Do an
pretty
Audi?
nice. Yeah, I would do an
You're
Audi.
the first one here.
Yes, I
yeah.
would do an Audi.
Everyone said Mercedes, BMW, so why Audi, out of curiosity?
To me, they ride a lot smoother than a Mercedes and a BMW. They ride hard. A Mercedes and a BMW ride hard to me.
And that's funny because, Mercedes has that reputation of luxury.
Yeah.
And then, I think it's flipped recently, hasn't
Yes.
it? Yeah.
So yeah, Audi seems to be a lot of smoother ride.
Okay.
Than Mercedes. So yeah.
Gotcha.
That's probably my choice if I had to buy it. Would be an Audi. I've never been impressed with Mercedes for whatever reason. I'm just not impressed.
Gotcha. Well, I've gone with Audi myself, so I like that answer. That's good. So can you tell us a little bit about the car that you have here today?
Well, it's a 65 Mustang, first generation. Returned pretty much to stock condition. Still has the 6-cylinder engine that it came with from the factory. A lot of them have been converted, but my brother and I are more of them purists and want it to be put back to stock.
Sure.
So we actually bought it from a friend of mine, Kurt. He sold it to buy another car, And that's how we acquired this one. We also have 3 more Mustangs at home.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So 2 of them are all done. Another one's a work in progress.
And do you work on these yourselves
Yes.
then? Okay. So it's,
Jeff is mostly mechanical, engine, transmission, very good at assembly. And I'm more the welder and the sheet metal guy and the paint guy.
and that's probably a great hobby to keep yourselves busy, right?
I say it's a great hobby, but it's also like cocaine. Once you get on it, you can't get off of it. So you spend more money. Yeah, you spend more money. You spend a lot of money, but it keeps you out of the bar. You're not doing bad things.
Sure,
You're working
right.
on old cars. So.
And then you get to show it off to interested people. Yeah.
And that one we drive a little. Some of them are trailer queens, but this one we do drive, and it's.
Nice.
I enjoy driving it.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, you need to know a little bit more on how to drive one of these old cars than a modern car.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
You don't have all the amenities. It's pretty bare bones, and that's just the way it was back in the 60s.
Assuming they're all manual then as well?
The 2 that we have ready to go at home have automatics.
Oh, they do? Okay.
This one's a 3-speed.
Okay.
And the one that we're working on, that will be an automatic also.
Okay.
The one we're working on was in really rough shape. Required a lot of new body panels, new floor. And so to me, it doesn't have the classical value that one that is all original metal from the factory. So we're going to hot rod this, the one that requires all the sheet metal. We're going to hop it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be bone stock. We're going to have fun with it.
Gotcha. Yeah, probably.
And we're changing it. That was a 6-cylinder car. We're going to put a 289 V8 in it.
Okay.
Things like that.
Yeah, so really big.
Yeah, it's going to hot dog
changes.
it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm going to ask you a couple questions on German cars. If you don't know anything about German cars, that's totally fine. But my first question would be, in general, do you have an opinion on German cars?
Yeah, I mean, we had worked on Volkswagens years ago, made a dune buggy.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Brother's a little older, so we got to work on them. Those were built for super mass production. And the engine's built like an aircraft engine. You know, they always leak oil, and it's the way they are. You know, newer German cars. I mean, their quality standards are phenomenal. Beautiful cars. As a rule, I think they cost a little more, but I would say I like them. I don't know a lot of the different models and so forth, but I see them on the road, and they're gorgeous.
It's interesting, too, because in Europe, they have this reputation of reliability. And in the States, a lot of people say, like, oh, don't touch those are money pits, those are unreliable. Do you have an opinion on that?
I got a friend that owns an older Mercedes, and he was having a hard time keeping up with some of the maintenance because it is an older car, and, dude, everything made's going to break at some point.
Right.
So, he finally found a mechanic that could source parts at a place where they were quite a bit cheaper. I don't know that they're certified brand name parts, but they work, and it keeps him on the road, and he's happy. So
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then my last question is just if I could give you a free German car, and you don't have to know the exact model or anything, but is there something that you would go with over another, a particular brand that jumps out or anything like that?
If you're going to give me a free car, it's going to be an older one. Gullwing Mercedes.
Oh, yeah, like the 300 SL?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
you can hand me one of those.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Love to have it.
That would be great. So if I could give you a free one, is there one that would jump out as the one you'd take?
A Mercedes.
Mercedes?
Yeah.
Any specific one, or
No,
just generally you like that brand?
Generally Mercedes.
Do you like the way they look? Is that it? And kind of anything else about them that strikes you, or just mostly like how they look?
Just how they look. I don't know much about the car. I just like how they look.
It's a 2008. It's a C4 LS3. It's got 430 horse, and it's Sunburst Orange. Is the name of it, and that's about it.
It looks quite cared for.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time cleaning it and polishing it.
When you said you had it about 2 years, is that what I remember?
Yeah.
Yep. And really enjoyed having it for those 2 years? Yeah. Do you do a lot of car shows or?
Few, about 3 a year is all.
Oh, okay.
Catered here to went up to Gilmore's Drive thing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Excellent.
Oh, I did Dwajek's car show too.
Oh, okay.
Last year.
I bet that's a nice one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I'll have to stop by that one too.
Yeah, it's a lot more cars.
So I'd like to ask you a few questions, just very general questions about German cars, if you don't mind here. So,
I probably don't know.
and that's okay. If you don't know much about German cars, that's a good answer for us because we're kind of tallying information here. So just first question, in general, do you have any opinions on German cars?
Volkswagens.
Yeah. Good, bad,
Oh, they're good.
in between, yeah?
They're collector cars, you know, too. And especially like them buses. I see them buses go for big money, them old ones.
Oh, yeah. Like the van type
Yeah.
things? Yeah.
With
Okay.
the windows in it.
Uh-huh.
I see them going $50,000 all restored, you know.
Right.
That's about all I know.
So I don't know if you have any opinions on German car reliability. In Europe, they're thought of as like really high reliability. Around here, people say, maybe stay away from the German cars. Those tend to be money pits. Do you have any opinions on that?
Well, the only, you know, it might be difficult because there's not as many people to fix them around here.
Right.
You know, it might be expensive that way, but I think they probably hold up as good or better than American cars.
Okay.
But that's all I know.
Sure. And then my final question would be just if I could give you a free German car, is there any that jump out, even if it's just a brand name that jumps out to you? Brand new free car, any year, any brand. It has to be German though.
I get one of they got some neat Volkswagens now.
Uh-huh.
One of those.
Well, you've got like the Passat, is a pretty
Yeah.
like the four-door sedans Passat.
Yeah, those are neat.
And then of course you've got we've heard a lot of BMW, we've heard a lot of Mercedes today. Would you take
Mercedes is nice.
Yeah, would you take that over Volkswagen
Yeah.
then? Yeah, okay. I thought maybe you would. So there you have it, some opinions about German cars from a car show in Southwest Michigan. American opinions on German automobiles. I really hope that you enjoyed this first episode of the German Car Show in spite of its many technical flaws. We request that you give us an elevated thumb so that the people of the world may know the superiority of the German engineering. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends, help us get this show going. The more people we have interacting and the more views that this gets, the more stuff we can do in the future. So if you enjoyed today, please share, like, all those things. Subscribe, ring the bell, you know the drill.